Mike Moore Media, the first place to hear Rockingham County news and information.
On our media line, Sergeant Walter Joyce at the Reidsville Police Department. Sergeant Joyce, good to have you here. How are you?
Good morning, Mike. Fine. How are you?
I'm doing just great. We're talking about the SRO program and your involvement with that. And I would think that everyone should know what that is. But first, let's define what is SRO.
SRO stands for School Resource Officers.
And this is something that you've been involved in and now oversee for a long time, isn't it?
Yes, sir. First, let me say I just want to thank you for having me, giving me the chance to talk about something I feel very passionate about.
Yes, sir.
As you said, I served as an SRO for quite a number of years at Reidsville Middle School and Reidsville High School here in the city, and within the last 3 years, I've had the opportunity to serve as a supervisor for our SROs. So, yes, I've done it for a while, and I really have a passion about it, so thank you.
Well, and I appreciate that passion and your interest. What does this mean to you? That's something that you're certainly involved in and have been for some time, but what does this mean to you? What does this mean to the schools, the students, Sergeant Joyce?
Well, our SROs are sworn law enforcement officers. They go into the schools. They're assigned to their specific schools, and they have three primary roles or responsibilities that they're specifically trained in. One, of course, being their role as a law enforcement officer, and then two, they serve a role as an educator within the schools, and they also serve a role as a counselor within the schools. So they're specifically trained in those three primary roles, and they get their training. They initially go through a basic school resource officer school through the North Carolina Justice Academy to become certified to become the SROs, and then they have to do a refresher training every year now through the Justice Academy as well to keep their certification. So they assist the schools in numerous ways, and the impact is really, really great.
And you know, from what you're saying, so an SRO officer wears a lot of hats and involved in a lot of areas.
They wear a lot of hats. The first primary responsibility, of course, is safety and security of the school, the students, the staff, and visitors that may be there. That's number one, of course, always. But they do wear a lot of different hats. I mean, they serve on school crisis teams. They assist with emergency drills, assist with safety plan development. As I said, they serve a role as educators. They go in and we teach DARE, which is Drug Abuse Resistance Education, to our elementary school students at the 5th grade level. We also teach GREAT, which is Gang Resistance Education and Training, and we teach that to our sixth graders at the middle school level. And we also teach a class called EKG, which stands for Educating Kids About Gun Violence, and we teach that to our 7th grade level. And of course, they also go in and do other impromptu, education classes on various topics that a teacher may ask them to do. Or, I know we've done some alcohol awareness type training to high school age students. So yes, they do a lot of different things in that realm. And then they also, like I said, serve a role as a counselor, not replacing the school counselors, of course, but just assisting them and adding to and letting students know what their roles and responsibilities are as lawful citizens. They do other things such as assist our parents on educating them about juvenile laws and processes, juvenile services, services that may be provided through Rockingham County Youth Services. All kinds of things, Mike. It's far outreaching.
It really is. A lot of different levels, it sounds like. And, I'm thinking you mentioned, I'm taking notes here, Sergeant Joyce. You mentioned the DARE program and GREAT and EKG and all of those. And I imagine that these have really changed over the years, and particularly more important now than ever, I would think.
Yes, sir. DARE, of course, has been in place the longest of those three. And and it still serves a very, very great role. The GREAT program, it actually came into place. We started teaching it while I was out at the middle school, and it really had a positive impact. You know, we were having some issue at the time when we first started that program with some youth kind of gang issues starting to pop up here and there, and I seen with the program that it really helped. It kind of helped to quell those issues. We've had a lot less problems since we've been teaching that program and educating kids and the parents about the gang education awareness training. So it's really, really positive. And then the EKG as well. We hadn't been doing that one as long as DARE either, but very positive impact on our youth.
I think this is just great. And just another note about DARE, that's still going strong right there, but some school systems across the country, that's kind of fallen by the wayside, hasn't it? It has.
You know, we're glad that we're able to still bring it. Of course, with COVID and everything last year, we didn't get to teach these things last year with the school situation the way it was. But we're very hopeful to get back in and get them going again this year coming up, which actually begins on August 23rd.
Oh wow! It's here sooner than you think.
So it's coming fast.
Yeah. Okay. So we currently have SROs in what schools?
Now we have 4 SROs that serve 5 schools within the city. We have an SRO at our 2 elementary schools, which is South End and Moss Street Partnership School. And then we have an SRO assigned to Reidsville Middle School, Reidsville High School, and also the SCORE Center.
Now, how are these positions funded? I've heard about that over the years. Is that something we need to mention?
The school system, I think, gets funding through grant that they try to renew. They have to renew every so often, and they fund, I think, about 83% of the SRO's officer's salary, and the individual agencies pick up the rest of it from there. So, yeah, that's kind of how that works.
Okay, very good. Well, if someone is in law enforcement, can they apply for an SRO position there in Reidsville, or how does that work? What's a kind of a chain of command, I guess, or something like that?
Well, generally, all our positions are filled right now. But if we were to have a position come up, maybe one of those officers get promoted or moved to another specialty position or something of that nature, and we have a position open, then that role would be posted within our department, and those officers that are interested could apply, fill out a job interest application, and apply, and then they would have a kind of a review board and a panel to select the next person, and then of course they would have to go through the training as I mentioned earlier.
Yeah. When you and I talked earlier, before we did the podcast here today, you mentioned an SRO conference going on this week in Wilmington. Tell us a little bit about that. Who attended and what's involved?
Yes, sir. All of our SROs are attending this week down in Wilmington at the NCASRO, North Carolina Association for School Resource Officers Conference. And it's a week long, and it's an annual thing, and I've been to quite a few of them over the years. It's great training, that is tailored to the SRO positions, and just kind of builds on the training that they already have. And I think other agencies within our county have sent officers down this week as well, from Eden and probably the sheriff's office and the other agencies, and it's usually well attended and very good training. The NCASRO is a fine organization, and it really builds upon the level of expertise for our SROs when they come back from that training.
Yeah. Well, you've mentioned it now a couple of times, so there's really ongoing training all the time for the SROs. And it takes a special person to be in law enforcement. Thank you and Team Reidsville there at the Police Department for what you do on a daily basis out there for us, protecting and serving, and I appreciate that.
Thank you.
But it really takes someone on another level, I think, there to be in the school system and working with those young people, doesn't it?
It does. It's a calling, Mike. It really is.
Yeah.
I felt that way when I did it. When I first got it, I wasn't sure if I was going to like it or not when I put in for it all those years ago, and I fell in love with it. I miss it to this day, being in that school daily. And like I said, I mean, I see kids now that I had almost 20 years ago with students out. I run into them out in the community, Walmart, here, there, everywhere.
Wow.
And they don't forget you. They don't forget their SROs. And I mean, you know, these guys are getting in there and doing things like playing ball with them. You know, letting them see the officer as a human being. You know, instead of just somebody wearing a badge. And seeing him as a real person as well. And I see my guys now. We're out here in the community doing things this summer. Their kids see them. They speak to them. They really build a rapport with these kids, and it builds long-lasting relationships. It's really impactful. I've seen situations where we go on a call out here, and there's a kid that one of the SROs is familiar with, and that kid will talk to that SRO before they'll talk to another officer that they don't know. Talk to that relationship.
Yeah.
You know, and share things, or maybe you got a situation with a kid who's ran away. That officer can tell you who to go to, who's friends with that kid, to get the information needed to maybe find out where that kid is. You know, just stuff like that. It's so impactful, and I really appreciate all our SROs now here in the county and across the state, because I know the job they do, and it's really important. And saying that too, we work closely with the SROs throughout the county, not here in Reidsville. They all communicate well together to work towards doing things for our kids as well. So they meet usually fairly regularly. They have meetings, SRO county-wide meetings, and meet together and discuss things that they need to. So a lot of communication.
Yeah, it's got to be gratifying, like you say. You've made such an impact over the years. Our SROs make such an impact, and just I know there's lots of, you've shared a couple right there, but success stories all through the years. We've got about a minute left, Sergeant Joyce. Anything to wrap up with?
I'll just say, tell everybody, please appreciate your school resource officers. Thank them for what they do. It's an unbelievable job they do, serving our communities and most of all our youth. The work they do, is not easily measured, but the impact is great, as I've said, and I've witnessed it firsthand. And just thank you to all of them.
Oh, wow. That's a good positive statement right there to finish up with. And I always like to remind everybody to go to your Facebook page, Reidsville Police Department. I'm on it right now, and I'm looking at promotions and activities and those Water Wednesdays that you're having now and around the city. So there's a lot of good information on your Facebook page all the time. Absolutely. We had a very, very good Water Wednesday that we recently had over at Womack Apartments at Reidsville Housing, and the next one is next week at Crestwood Apartments on the 21st. Yep, that's great. Sergeant Joyce, it's great to get acquainted with you. I commend you and as supervisor of the SRO program and your team for being there and working in so many ways with our young people in our schools. Thank you for that. I want you to know we appreciate you.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it very much.
All right. We'll talk again, perhaps. Have a good week.
Yes, sir. Thank you. You too.
All right. Bye. All right. Bye-bye. Good to get acquainted there with Sergeant Walter Joyce, who supervises the SRO program there in Reidsville, doing great work. Always good to check in with Reidsville PD and find out about the positive things that are going on in that department. Yes, please visit their Facebook page. That's Reidsville Police Department. And on a personal note, I certainly appreciate the folks there at Reidsville PD and Karen Heiler and all of the people that are involved. And RiseUpReidsville.com is a website you certainly want to visit as well.